Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Chicagoland Retirement Protect and Grow with Chicagoland's certified financial planner, CFP Tim Stearns, founder at TJ Stearns Inc. Tim, welcome back into the show. We always appreciate you being here.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And we appreciate the guidance and the insight that you provide to Chicagoland area savers and investors, those taking their planning and their financial future seriously, helping them along in their financial path and progress. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't start this program by mentioning that, of course, it is the Mother's Day weekend. So me personally and everybody out there, hopefully thanking the mothers in our lives. Very important people.
Absolutely. My mom had a lot to do with my upbringing and why I'm a financial planner. So happy birthday. Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and happy Mother's Day to my wife, Jen.
Well, we appreciate all that they do. And like you said, Tim, so often just responsible for the values that we have, of course, helping in the upbringing and giving us a start in life on our path. And then always that ear that we can talk to, the person that we maybe love to see the most out of everyone, the moms in our lives. And Tim, moms are typically pretty careful planners, providing for and protecting the family. And while this baby boomer generation has been called many things, one of those things is the sandwich generation. Oh, yeah. Some of us are having to turn around and provide some thoughtful care for our families, and specifically moms and aging parents. So it's kind of a two-way street that we need to plan carefully for.
Well, I've seen that personally in my family. I have a sister-in-law who literally quit her job to help out with her mom and dad, and then she's helping out with the grandkids as well. So she's very busy, busier than she was when she was working, as she says.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I think that a lot of the financial planning is a result of the protection that we would like to be able to provide for our family and loved ones. And maybe it's just us guys, but I think we have the tendency to believe that we could wander off in the woods and survive off tree bark. But not so much, not in reality. And therefore, the planning that we do is to protect our spouse, our children, our loved ones, those around us that we care for. And we really need to take that seriously as a result of trying to provide that ultimate protection.
I agree. And that's why I brought, I think, a timely topic to our broadcast, our podcast today as well. Basically, the 4 approaches to addressing long-term care and medical expenses in retirement. Besides taxes, that's going to be your next biggest expense. And, 7 out of 10 Americans are going to need long-term care, and 9 out of 10 of us don't have it. So This is real.
The statistics from the Department of Health and Human Services show that all of us, as close to 70% as you can get, about 69.8%, are going to require some level of care during the course of our lifetimes. And this was actually a 2018 study and survey. And then, Tim, if you survey the population that reaches age 65 or above, that number is actually closer to 9 in 10. So really an issue that we cannot afford to ignore and take the ostrich approach, burying our heads in the sand.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of people are doing that. There's different ways to do long-term care, right? And it seems like a lot of us think that we can self-insure. At a certain point, you may have assets to pay for your care privately, but there's something to be said, for having actual insurance. I mean, I always say to clients, you have car insurance, you have home insurance, and the chances of you having a fire at your house are very much less than having to use long-term care. So if you have enough assets and you think you can get away with it, then God bless. Don't insure your house, don't insure your long-term care. But for my money, the leverage that you can provide with some of the products that they have out now, it's unbelievable how great it is.
Well, I bet those same individuals, Tim, and I'm sure you've met plenty of them that with all reasonable likelihood could actually cover the cost of care expenses. I mean, if we've saved aggressively, if we've got investing acumen and have planned prudently and astutely, yeah, and built up a sizable nest egg, a little luck along the way maybe helped as well, but we've got that pool of assets there that can provide us that confidence. I still bet we don't look at our house and say, nah, forget homeowners insurance, I'm self-insured.
No,
Look at our
exactly.
car and say, no, forget auto insurance, I'm self-insured. We leverage money. And if I've got a $500,000 home, I don't set $500,000 off to the side and say, don't worry about it, I'm self-insured. I
Right.
pay a minimal amount of homeowners insurance to leverage those dollars and provide the
Right.
protection for the 500,000. And I think that those same individuals could probably take a fraction of a percent of the growth on the assets that are providing them that confidence and protect the assets that are giving them that confidence.
I would agree. And the nursing homes and the healthcare, they're going to go after every asset that you have. And then people back in a long time ago were hiding assets, doing, and then they caught on to that, so they're doing the look backs. In Chicagoland, it's at least 5 years. So they're going to monitor what kind of assets and where things were transferred before you even go into a home. So I don't think that's really a thing anymore. And then again, self-insuring for something that 7 out of 10 of us are going to need is pretty scary to me.
Well, a little bit of a turn from the Mother's Day introduction and greeting that we gave, but this is a serious conversation for everyone and a consideration for those that care about their own financial well-being and for providing that protection of well-being to your families, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've got questions, if you've got concerns about any of the approaches that are available to addressing this important topic, one that you cannot afford to ignore, pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. Talk to Chicagoland area's certified financial planner, Tim Stearns, to go over these options and see which option is the right option for your situation. Or again, if you'd like to just start that conversation with your spouse, with your family, with a loved one, with your parents, give a call and request this report of the 4 approaches to long-term care. Certainly a valuable resource that can help you get that conversation started. Again, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. If you'd like the 4 approaches to long-term care report, or if you would like to look at that question, that issue for your own situation, 800-640-2256, the number to call. Tim, a question of who needs care, those statistics, they say that really all of us are going to need to address this issue. Now, who provides that care is really something that we need to examine. And I sort of think of it as the 4 W's. When I need care, who do I want to provide that care, and where do I want to be cared for? And then those questions, answering those is really going to help me arrive at the conclusion, what do I need to now do about it?
Right. And the average stay in a nursing home is 3.86 years. So I was with a client just last week, and he is paying $9,000 a month to take care of his mom.
Mm.
So, and unfortunately, she's got a really bad case of Alzheimer's. My point is this: is that who can provide that care? A lot of times you see, the caregiver gets really worn out by having to care for someone who has something wrong with them, like dementia, Alzheimer's, or God forbid, cancer too. So these are the things that we need to self-insure. That is not a thing. I don't agree with that. So I always talk to our clients about the different ways that we can do that. So
Well, Tim, we talked I guess a couple weeks ago about that scary equation. What's 2 times 3 times 7 times 10 times 20 times
Yes.
52, and it's 432,000, something like that. And that's the cost potentially of food to
Right.
two people, a couple eating 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, $10
Yep.
a meal, 52 weeks a year over the course of 20 years is a very large number. But what you just stated there, the cost of care at $9,000 a month
Right.
for 3.8 years, that's also upwards of $400,000. And
Right.
that's money that we're either going to need to come up with personally, or we've got a plan for how to address and how to attack and leverage our dollars. And it's certainly not a burden that we want to go unfunded and then place upon our family and our loved ones.
Right. And I talk about that all the time with clients, is that, if God forbid you have to go into a home, I mean, I'd want to be in charge of that. I don't want to have to go to a Medicaid type facility where you've spent down all your assets, and those places are miserable, and at least for the mothers out there, get insurance on them. Because if you've ever been in a nursing home, I'd say about 90% of the clientele are women.
Yeah.
They outlive us, and God bless them. But I'm just saying, in a lot of cases, they took care of us, and then now they are, having issues, health issues, and that type of thing.
Well, guys could
Like,
say, "Hey, I could go there and be Mr. Popular," but all jokes aside here,
right,
I mean, I don't think that anybody wants that for themselves or for their loved one. If the situation requires, we find the highest level of comfort and care that we can afford and that we can provide. But Tim, a lot of people say, "Hey, well, I'll let Medicaid take care of those expenses if I ever get there." Um, Reliance on the government, I don't think, is anyone's ideal plan for care when they get to sort of set the standard for care. And by the way, they're going to basically require you to spend yourself penniless. If you have assets to
absolutely.
pay for your own care, they're going to make you spend those before they step in and Medicaid offers any assistance.
Well, I remember my dad had a friend who hid some money he gave money cash to my dad because he didn't want them to get everything that he was receiving from his pension, as well as Social Security. So those are real things that are going on out there, and they will bleed you dry until you're basically a ward of the state. And I mean, no one wants to be in one of those places. I mean, it was very sad to go see him and his wife at the end there because they were not where they should have been.
Well, again, a question, an issue in planning, a serious matter that you cannot afford to ignore. You may be thinking to yourself, well, I can't afford to address it. No, the cost of ignoring it is much more substantial. So get this conversation started. In fact, there are some solutions here, ladies and gentlemen, that aren't necessarily a whole lot of money out of pocket. You're not going to spend yourself broke providing these protections for yourself. Tim Stearns has a number of different options and opportunities for you to get some level of protection from the possibility of medical expenses in the future. Find out what those are. These new approaches sometimes can be very affordable and reasonable, and often have high level of advantage over some of the old ways to approach this question. So again, find out or get this list of the 4 approaches to long-term care. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. And Tim, before we go specifically into some of the details of these approaches, I also want to say this, and not to be cold or callous, but as much as we do want to provide that protection for our loved ones and our family and those around us that we care for, we have to be careful planners for ourselves first and foremost. Because if I don't plan for myself, then I'm not doing anyone around me any favors, any benefits. I'm not providing them protection from myself.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's, you kind of skipped ahead on me, Peter, but that's number 4 on the list, is become a dependent, because that's exactly what you're doing. If you don't plan ahead, something can happen that is not advantageous to the entire family. So that's why I talk to people about all the different approaches. One thing that I'm running into quite a bit is that when I talk to someone about, a long-term care type hybrid, they'll tell me a story, especially baby boomers right now. Well, my mom My dad never used it, and my mom is using some of it, but we're never going to get the money out that they put into it. Well, that is the old way of doing business, the traditional long-term care insurance. And if you look around now, everyone and their mother was in that industry in the 90s. And nowadays there's about two players out there, two insurance companies that are still doing it. So that is use it or lose it. I do not advocate for that. I've never ever sold a policy like that. I don't believe in it because I don't want to put in my money into something, my money that I worked hard for, and not ever get something of a return out of it.
Tim, that tells me a couple things. I mean, if there were 15, 20 years ago, 50, 75, 100 different companies that were providing that traditional
Right.
long-term care insurance, and now there's only two,
Right.
that tells me something. It tells me that that was not a profitable product for them to be offering. And if it wasn't
is
a
correct.
profitable product for them to be offering, that means that they underestimated the cost of care. They underestimated the number of people who would need it. They underestimated the length of time they would require it for. And so because they underestimated, it wasn't profitable, they stopped offering the product. But that also tells me that that's makes it even more of an important issue for us to figure out some reasonable approach to, even if we
Right.
don't like the use it or lose it quality of the long-term care insurance of the past.
Right. And so that leads me to the next item, which is linked benefits. I love these products because there are three ways to get your money out of it. Number one, there'll be cash value in the policy. Okay. So if people want to take money out just because, not because they need long-term care, that's something that they can do. So there's a return happening to the money. Right. Secondly, there's a death benefit. Right. So if something happens to the party that is owning it, then the heirs get money tax free, right? And that why do I bring that up to the Chicagoland? Most of the people that call me are concerned about estate taxes coming back. Think about that. Right now, the current administration knows that right now we're at $11 million. It's supposed to sunset at 2025 down to $5 million. And when they're running for office, they're talking about moving it down to $3 million. Now that they are in office, they've talked about moving it down to $1 million. So they're coming for us because someone's going to need to pay for this stimulus plans that they've put out there. And with the infrastructure plan that's going to be out there too, I mean, these are things that they're going to go for the middle class. And, people are, I never had to worry about estate taxes. You do now. And that's a real thing, especially when they own the House, they own the Senate, and they own the presidency, obviously. And I'm not getting political. I'm just saying it. What their whims are and what their wishes are will happen because there's no one to really fight them.
It's their own words. They're saying that these are their initiatives. And I think it was Ben Franklin who said there's two things that can be said to be certain in life, and that's death and taxes. Sometimes,
Amen.
Tim, it feels like we're taxed to death, but if not that, at least taxed at death is something that we really all need to worry about. And by the way, that estate tax, that is a separate issue from the income tax that would be generated on any tax deferred retirement account, like a 401k or an IRA.
Right.
That's in addition to that. And so really a lot of taxes kind of building and looking like they're going to avalanche against us if we don't do some proactive planning.
Right. And that's why I always tell people, I mean, it's not bad to have a permanent life policy. You didn't work your whole life to pay the government 40 cents on a dollar if it's over $1 million. That's just not the way to do things.
But Tim, you're saying that, and by the way, but wait, there's more. You can actually use that tax-free death benefit. That term always confused me, death benefit. I don't know what the benefit is of death, but you can actually use that benefit for a living benefit now. You can use it while you're alive for covering the cost of these expenses.
Yeah. So Peter, what happens is I'll just give you a couple policies that we've done in the last couple of weeks. If you can't do two of your activities of daily living, dressing yourself, feeding yourself, transference, getting out of bed, that type of thing, those are just 3 out of the 7. Basically, if you can't do 2 of those, they will you get a letter from your doctor that says that you're having some issues. And then what you can do is start to draw down on the death benefit. Right. So you have not passed on and you're not deathly sick either. Either way, you can pull down on that death benefit tax free so that you don't have to, self-insure or become a dependent.
Well, Tim, as I understand it here, there's actually a couple different variations even of this new solution. One that can give you access to that death benefit, but it is life insurance, may require some amount of medical underwriting. There are some simplified versions of that where it's not an in-depth medical underwriting, but there's also another version that provides a lifetime of income that we can never outlive, even if we have these long-term care expenses. And but oh, by the way, if we do encounter those, they'll increase the amount of income for us.
Yes, yes. There's a couple companies out there that have what they call an income doubler, which is outstanding because if I'm just going to make up numbers here, but if you're getting $1,000 a month, it'll double to $2,000, and that's just based on, math that they're doing. But basically, the assets that you have, if you can't, let's say you've had cancer and you can't qualify for a life insurance policy, there's policies out there that do not require any underwriting. You can get it rain or shine, whatever's going on in your life. And it helps people. And in some cases it turns on right away, and if you need it. So I love that.
So maybe not complete comprehensive coverage with the example that you gave versus the one that you gave earlier where the expenses were $9,000 a month. Perhaps that particular increase of doubling the income doesn't cover 100% of all expenses, but certainly better than nothing at all. And Tim, in any other kind of solution or scenario or strategy, if we start taking out twice the amount of income, I think that the worry is, oh no, we're going to run that well dry and have no assets and no income to speak of at all. Whereas with this solution, at least you have the baseline for continued guaranteed income for the remainder of as long as however we live.
Right. And that's a lot of people sell that short that, I don't want to buy an annuity, well, that's fine. But if, let's say I have $12,000 in a account and I'm taking out $1,000, a month in a mutual fund, at the end of 12 months, I'm out of money. But in an annuity, that 13th month, they're still paying. That's the difference. And people, they sell it short. And that's why we're happy to, educate them on the different products that are out there. And we do that all the time in our retirement classes.
Well, if you would like to have that education personally, go through a conversation of these different approaches. If you would like this list, this report, this resource of the 4 approaches to long-term care, if you'd like to attend one of those upcoming classes and educational opportunities, pick up the phone, give TJ Stearns and give Tim Stearns, Chicagoland certified financial planner, a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. And maybe this isn't the most optimistic, uplifting conversation, but certainly, Tim, we can have a whole lot more financial confidence after we have addressed this issue, not have this nagging worry in the back of our minds. And you talk about the income allocation quite often on this program as you are helping somebody structure that plan for retirement, the written roadmap for how to generate income to last throughout retirement. Are you talking about this issue and incorporating some of these tools and products and strategies and solutions into that income allocation?
Absolutely. I mean, as we talked about, taxes will be your biggest expense in retirement. And the next thing is insurance, medical costs, so you're going to need, and a lot of people have that misnomer that Medicare will take care of it. Medicare, not Medicaid. And Medicare has nothing to do with long-term care, so you're on your own. If God forbid you have to go in a home or have someone come in and help you every day. So that's, a misnomer. People are, I know a lot of people that I think are very intelligent who really have no clue that that's out there, that, that's something that they should look into and get educated on. And that's why I tell them, come to our class. We're also doing Zooms where I could send it to them, or we are recording it as well. So that's another thing that we can do.
Well, again, not to be cold or callous or sound uncaring or selfish, but on an airplane, when they're giving the safety speech before you take off, they say, if there's turbulence and masks drop from the ceiling, if you're traveling with children, be sure to secure your own mask first. Yes. And that's because if you're not doing the correct things to stabilize yourself, to put yourself in that stable position, then you're of no help in supporting and stabilizing others around you. And the same is true here. So whether it's proper insurance, proper savings, proper investing, proper planning for taxes, providing those proper protections and precautions and getting those in place, those are important to do for ourselves so we can provide some support to loved ones, not become dependent on them. And if you would like this report of the 4 approaches to long-term care, it talks about the traditional approach, it talks about the linked benefits, it talks about being self-insured, it talks about your choices and options in becoming dependent and where that care would be provided from. You can have that conversation. You can go over it on your own or with spouses, loved ones, family, parents, whoever may need it. A great conversation starter. Give a call, request that report from Tim Stearns, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. And Tim, as we mentioned, income allocation, that's another valuable offer and resource that you make available on the program.
I'd say 90 to 95% of the people that come in to my class, they come to our office, have no income allocation plan whatsoever. It's just not a thing. They, their advisor currently has told them, well, you're going to be okay. And Kiplinger has that great article that, when one of their 6 mistakes in retirement is that, your advisor says, I think you'll be okay. I think when you're in retirement, I mean, the last thing I want to find out when I'm 80 years old and I can't really work anywhere, that I'm out of money. And then I've become a dependent to my family. I mean, that's just not the way, I was raised. And I would not think anyone in Chicagoland would want that.
Yeah, I saw that on the Kiplinger article, the 6 killers of retirement, putting blind faith in the hope that we will be okay without a true plan. That's one of the killers that Tim helps you address, ladies and gentlemen, putting together that concrete plan for retirement to provide for that foundation of stability and the protections around it. If you would like to get your Protect and Grow plan, not 1,000 pages of high-level financial jargon, this is simple, easy to understand language that addresses the key critical areas: investments, income, taxes, healthcare, legacy, the fees that you're paying, the risks that you're taking, the taxes that you may be liable for, and how to know if you're ready to retire, and then protecting that lifestyle once you do. Similar plans can easily go upwards of $1,000 to several thousands of dollars, but certified financial planner Tim Stearns, CFP, willing to put that together with you for you, your Protect and Grow plan, including that income allocation. And if you would like that book, Income Allocation, the Essential Retirement Planning Strategy Guidebook, call now. First 10 callers with over $500,000 saved for retirement can get a free copy of the book, Income Allocation, being used across the country by advisors looking to help their clients structure a more stable, secure retirement. So if you'd like that book, Income Allocation, if you'd like your Protect and Grow plan, if you'd like a CFP as your resource, give Tim Stearns a call, 800-640-2256. Tim, we appreciate your time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program on 890 WLS every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.